I want to introduce someone whose name you're going to be hearing a lot in the future. His name is Brian Heywood. Very successful businessman, very successful investor, and then he turned his attention to politics. And one of the things he believes in is that the people of Washington State are far more in touch with what we need to do than some of the politicians we've been sending to Olympia. So in front of me is not one, not two, but 10 initiatives that Brian Heywood is preparing to launch. And it's great to have him here this morning on the John Carlson Show. Brian Heywood, how are you, sir?
Fantastic, John. How are you?
Great. You are responsible for underwriting some very successful campaigns and causes, including sGoWashington.com. That's sGoWashington.com, or online at sGoWA.com. If you,
both of them will work.
Both of them will work. I have never seen this before, Brian. I've seen one or two or three initiatives in a single year. You're out there right now gathering signatures for 10 of them. Explain.
Well, we actually went, like Spinal Tap, we actually went to 11.
11 initiatives, okay.
We have 11 initiatives. We started with 10, and then we had one more that we thought was really good, and we added it. So we've got a total of 11. And your intro is sort of perfectly explaining things in terms of who has the wisdom to solve the problem. And some of that goes back. I took Roland, the music company, the electronic music company, I took them private about 8 years ago. And we had a bunch of people that were frustrated because management hadn't let the employees kind of solve the problem. It was trying to solve it from top down. And we had this concept called unleash. And when we unleashed the employees, we started getting products and solutions to things that we didn't expect, and we couldn't have seen ourselves.
Okay.
And it really, really changed my thinking about how to solve problems. So that's what we're doing with these initiatives. Is we came up with some initiatives that reflect what people are, where they're hurting right now, and the things that they need fixed.
Well, what we're going to be doing,
we're
going to be doing on future shows is we're going to take the initiatives one at a time and devote a segment every day to each one of those initiatives. But I want to give a quick review to what you've got here, because a couple of examples right off the bat. Initiative 1474, we've got an obvious problem with police no longer being allowed to do police pursuits. The legislature knows about this problem, but they refuse, meaning the Democratic majority in the Senate particularly, refused to change their law. So you're saying, you know what? Fine, we'll do it. Initiative 1474 restores police pursuits.
When we had, there's a story of a 9/11 call that a criminal here in Washington was running away, and he called 911. And he said, "Hey, the police are pursuing me. Tell them that that's illegal." And when you have that kind of nonsense happening, the majority of the people have got to say that's enough.
Now, what Brian Heywood is saying here is absolutely correct. That he's not being superfluous. He's not making a joke. There was a criminal who was fleeing from police. They were chasing him. The criminal called 911. And told the 911 operator that because of the new law in Olympia, the police can't pursue me. Tell them to back off. That's on tape. Okay, so that's one initiative. Here's another problem that Olympia caused. When the Supreme Court briefly invalidated Washington's law against illegal drugs because the law did not have one word, the word knowingly, knowingly possess illegal drugs, all the legislature had to do was add that word. The left wing of the Democratic House and Senate said, let's not do anything so that this now becomes the law, and we've just legalized all hard drugs. And of course, the Republicans said, no, just add one word, and it's a complete fix. They ended up, quote, compromising by saying that your first two busts for felony drugs would now just result in a citation, a warning, and then your third arrest would result in a misdemeanor. Brian Heywood's initiative would make hard drugs illegal again from the get-go. Your first hard drug possession is Class C felony. That's what it was before. That's initiative, 1510, I believe.
1510, that's correct. Well, and we talked, some people think, well, it's not compassionate if you don't give them a shot. And I was talking to quite a few police officers and some people that deal with sort of drug addiction and drug recovery. And it's not going to solve everybody's problem, but one of the things that kept coming up over and over is that sometimes the only way for someone to break a cycle, because this is, especially with addiction, it's not something you just will yourself to do sometimes. You need help. And sometimes it's the cooling off period, getting out of the cycle where the drug's in your hands. Some people are able to sort of take advantage of that and begin this path to clean themselves up.
Yeah. So,
and so, go ahead.
Brian Heywood believes that essentially politics is broken in Washington state. We need to force the legislature to focus on what is truly important and to be on record what side they're on. So he's collecting signatures between now and the end of the year, and these initiatives, if they qualify, or however many of them qualify, will force the legislature to take a stand. They'll have to vote. It's an initiative to the legislature, yay or nay. And if they vote nay, then it automatically goes to the people, and the people get the final word. Here's a couple of other examples. How about a $250,000 property tax exemption? That's Initiative 1509. How about repealing the capital gains income tax? That's Initiative 1491. How about curtailing Jay Inslee's emergency powers to 30 days unless the legislature extends it? That's Initiative 1480. All of these ideas are in these initiatives. Gathering signatures right now. You can sign 1, 2, or all 11 by going to sGoWashington.com. sGoWashington.com. Again, I've never seen anything like this before. It's audacious. And, Brian Heywood, if the legislature responded by voting for these things, and we might have a very different legislature by next January, and they might very well do that, Governor Inslee would be sidelined. The governor has nothing to do with initiatives to the legislature, can't veto them. You would be changing the face of state government.
We would have I think it's an earthquake if we can get it to happen. Well, especially if you look at the initiatives, including, I don't know if you're going to mention the tax, the sales and the gas tax cut. These are ones that hit people right in the pocketbook right now. But there's no natural, not even the right word. There's no special interest group that says, hey, these are something we're going to sponsor, we're going to support. These are things that hit everyday Washingtonians in the pocketbook. They impact their daily lives with the safety. And so there's no natural champion to run these things. So we run this, and we do it with the grassroots. It's not a paid signature gathering operation. That moves things, because that means we got a lot of Washingtonians to get out on a rainy day and go sign a petition.
Now, I think you put it perfectly. There is plenty of money to bankroll the repeal of capital gains tax, because there's a lot of investors who oppose the tax, and then there's a lot of other people who say, no, that's just the camel's nose under the tent for state income tax across the board. But for trimming the sales tax, you're right. Most people say, of course, we should have done that years ago. We can afford to do it. We've been running huge surpluses. But there's no vested interest that says, all right, then, we're going to take the bull by the horns and do it. Except now. And you're the guy taking the bull by the horns.
Well, and the sales tax is an interesting one because the Democrat side of the legislature actually proposed cutting the sales tax by 1%, and we thought, that's a brilliant idea. We love it. Let's adopt it. So we consider this I think all of them are sort of bipartisan. None of them are overly partisan in any way for either party. This is one we took from the Democrats and said, let's do it.
Yeah. Again, I think that the police pursuit initiative, and I think that making hard drugs illegal, is by far the most important, the most far-reaching idea that will change the criminal justice system and do more to bring down crime than anything. So I love these ideas. Again, they curtail crime, they curtail taxes, they curtail spending, they curtail the power of the governor's power, state government power. And if this sounds like something you've been waiting to see for years in this state, go online to sGoWashington.com. Now, can you order an initiative or download an initiative? How does it work, Brian?
Okay, great. Thank you for that question. We have on the site, we have locations where we have signing operations. And so right now we're just doing it by location. You can see those locations on the website. We're building them up. We've got about 60 churches that have agreed to host.
Oh, good. You're in line with churches. All right.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is that we've got about 90 different organizations. Not all of them always love each other and get along, but they're all excited about this. So we've got different groups that are supporting it. We have a lot of businesses that have agreed to put them in their shops. And so we'll put anything that's permanent, we'll put on the website. And then when we have an event, that will also be there.
All right. That's Brian Heywood. Let'sGoWashington.com. Folks, I've never seen anything like it. This could change the face of government in Washington State. Thank you, Brian Heywood, for joining us, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you, John Carlson. Appreciate what you do for the state.
You got it. That's Brian Heywood from Let'sGoWashington.com. Whoa, this would be seismic.